In November 2025, on the opening day of the Dubai Air Show, Emirates walked onto the stage and placed an order for 65 Boeing 777-9 aircraft worth $38 billion at list prices. The crowd barely flinched, because this was not the first time. In 2023, Emirates placed a $52 billion Boeing order at the same event. In 2014, it placed the original 777X order for $56 billion. Add those three commitments together, and you arrive at a number so large it stops feeling real. Over $146 billion committed to a single aircraft program. A program that has not delivered a single commercial flight to any airline on Earth after 12 years of development. There is just one reason Emirates is making bets of this magnitude. It has no choice, because the aircraft that turned this airline into the most powerful long-haul carrier on the planet is dying, and nothing in production today can replace it. The Airbus A380, 116 of them in Emirates' fleet right now, nearly half of every A380 Airbus ever built. An aircraft so completely fused with Emirates' identity that passengers do not book a flight, they book the A380. The bar, the shower, the sheer spectacle of boarding a double-deck jet at the crossroads of the world, and all of it is going away, quietly, methodically, irreversibly. The last A380 leaves the Emirates fleet around 2041. The question tearing through the aviation industry is whether anything Boeing or Airbus can build will actually fill the void. To understand why that question is so difficult to answer, you have to understand why the A380 worked in the first place and why it worked for absolutely nobody else. Airbus designed the A380 around a specific theory of the future. That theory said the world's great hub airports, London Heathrow, Tokyo Narita, Sydney, would become so congested that adding new flight frequencies would become physically impossible. The only solution was to put more passengers on each aircraft, a double-deck, 4-engine super jumbo capable of carrying over 500 passengers through a single runway slot. The logic was sound, the execution was brilliant. The problem was that the 787 Dreamliner and Airbus A350 changed the rules before the A380 could win the game. Twin-engine jets with ranges exceeding 15,000 kilometers meant airlines could fly point-to-point between mid-sized cities that would never fill an A380 in a decade. The hub model began bleeding market share to direct routes. Singapore Airlines, Lufthansa, Air France, Korean Air. One by one, A380 operators started shrinking their fleets. Some retired the aircraft entirely. Emirates watched all of this and went in the opposite direction. Because for Emirates, the fundamentals had not changed. Dubai sits at the geographic center of the world. From a single hub, Emirates funnels passengers from Europe, Asia, Africa, and Oceania through Dubai International, then redistributes them across the globe. That model does not work with 250-seat aircraft. It works with 500-seat aircraft. By 2014, Emirates was reporting A380 load factors of 90 to 100%, not as an exception, as a standard operating condition. At London Heathrow alone, Emirates was running 6 A380 flights per day at the most slot-constrained airport in Europe, where other carriers were desperate to add even one extra frequency. The math was simple. More passengers per slot equals more revenue per slot. The A380 was not just an aircraft for Emirates. It was a structural weapon that competitors could not match because they did not have the hub to fill it. So Emirates kept buying. And then something happened that changed the entire story. In 2014, Emirates made a decision that would define the next decade of its history. It canceled 70 Airbus A350 orders and doubled down on the A380. The reasoning, stated publicly at the time, was that the A380's slot efficiency at constrained airports made it more commercially powerful than any smaller widebody. Emirates' own executives explained it with clarity. They had just 5 slots at Heathrow. By deploying A380s on those slots, they had grown revenue in a way that 2 smaller aircraft on 2 slots could never have replicated. The A350 cancellation was not a mistake. It was a calculated bet that the A380 model would keep working. But Airbus was running out of other believers. By 2018, with Emirates sustaining the production line in any meaningful volume, Airbus made its own calculation. In February 2019, Airbus announced it would end A380 production. Simultaneously, Emirates restructured its own backlog, canceling 39 of its remaining A380 orders and reducing its total A380 fleet to 123 aircraft. It was the moment Emirates acknowledged aircraft was designed for an operational life of approximately 100,000 flight hours, or roughly 20 years. Pandemic groundings paused that clock, buying Emirates a few extra years, but the clock is running again. Emirates President Sir Tim Clark has stated plainly that operating an A380 to 24 or 25 years of age is, in his own words, a big ask. Early retirements begin in the early 2030s. The fleet phases out through the mid-2030s and into the early 2040s. And when the last one lands, it lands forever. There is no replacement waiting on a production line. There is only a strategy. That strategy costs over $100 billion, and it is running on a 7-year delay. The centerpiece is the Boeing 777X. Emirates has committed to 270 of them, the 777-9 and the smaller 777-8, across 3 separate orders totaling $146 million at list prices. The 777-9 is the largest twin-engine passenger aircraft ever designed, nearly 77 meters long, with wingtips that allow it to use gates built for smaller jets. It carries around 380 passengers in Emirates' planned configuration and has the range to connect Dubai to virtually any city on Earth. It is Boeing's most capable aircraft, and it is 7 years overdue. Boeing launched the 777X program at the 2013 Dubai Air Show. The first delivery was promised for 2020, then 2021, then 2023, then 2025, then 2026. As of today, the aircraft is now expected to enter service in 2027 at the earliest, pending FAA type certification. The delays stem from a cascade of failures. Certification standards tightened dramatically after the 737 MAX crisis. The GE9X engine required additional testing to meet performance standards. Structural failures were found during testing, and supply chain disruptions compounded everything. Boeing has taken a $4.9 billion charge on the program in a single quarter. Total development overruns now exceed $15 billion, making the 777X one of the most expensive certification programs in commercial aviation history. The original 2020 delivery target is 7 years in the past. Not a single 777X is flying in commercial service anywhere on Earth. For Emirates, the consequences are concrete and mounting. Every month of delay forces the airline to run its existing fleet longer than planned. It forces Emirates to explain to passengers why the world's most profitable long-haul carrier is operating 15-year-old aircraft on premium routes. And most significantly, it has forced Emirates to spend $5 billion retrofitting 219 aircraft, 110 A380s, and 109 Boeing 777-300ERs that were originally meant to be heading toward retirement. Emirates began this retrofit program in 2021 with 120 aircraft. It expanded to 191 in May 2024. It expanded again to 219 before the end of that year. Every expansion was driven by the same single cause: Boeing was late. The airline has said so directly. The program grew because of continuing delays in new deliveries. Sir Tim Clark has not been diplomatic about it. He told journalists that Boeing had a very bumpy ride and that their delays were not the Boeing he knew. He pushed Boeing publicly for a feasibility study into an even larger aircraft, a potential 777-10, a stretched variant that would push capacity higher than the 777-9. Clark stated the 777-10 was the only one that's going to come anywhere near the seat count we'd like when the A380s are gone. He called Boeing's study a priority and described Emirates' public pressure as putting a marker down. Emirates has also secured options to convert part of its latest 777-9 order into either the 777-10 or the 777-8, keeping its options open depending on which Boeing variant materializes first. But here's the strategic problem that no aircraft order can fully solve. The A380 carried over 500 passengers on a single slot. The 777-9 carries around 380. Every A380 Emirates retires creates a seat deficit of more than 100 passengers per departure. Routes that once operated one daily A380 may need 2 777-9 flights to carry the same traffic. That means more runway slots at the very airports where slots are already impossible to obtain. More crew rotations, more gate occupancy, more ground handling complexity. Tim Clark has predicted this will push airfares higher, not because demand is falling, because capacity is falling. The A380 produced seats at a cost per unit that no twin-engine widebody can replicate, and those seats are leaving the market permanently. The A350-900 fills a different part of the equation. Emirates started receiving the A350 in late 2024, with the type entering service in January 2025, on a route to Edinburgh. 60 are on order. The A350 is smaller than the 777-9, around 300 seats in Emirates 3-class configuration, and gives the airline something it has genuinely never had before: the ability to serve markets that cannot sustain A380 or 777 loads. New routes, thinner markets, cities that would never see Emirates otherwise. But the A350 does not replace the A380's raw capacity on the massive trunk routes: London, Sydney, New York, Bangkok. Those routes need scale, and that scale for now is still being provided by the aircraft that Emirates once bet everything on. Because that is the final truth of this story.
While Emirates waits for Boeing to certify the 777X, while it spends $5 billion keeping aging aircraft commercially viable, while it commissions feasibility studies for aircraft that may not exist until the mid-2030s, the A380 is still flying, still filling seats at 90 to 100%, still generating the profits that fund the entire transition. Emirates posted a record $6.2 billion profit in its most recent financial year. The A380 drove a significant portion of that result. The aircraft the rest of the world abandoned is still, for this one airline, the most powerful commercial tool in the sky. But the production line is cold. The parts will run out. The airframes will age past what any supply chain can sustain. And the replacement, the $146 billion gamble spread across 270 Boeing aircraft that have not yet made a single commercial flight, is sitting in a certification queue while the clock on 116 A380s keeps running. Emirates forced the A380 into existence. Emirates kept it alive alone for 15 years, and now Emirates is being forced to replace it with something that does not yet exist, built by a manufacturer that is 7 years behind schedule, at a cost that exceeds the GDP of many nations. The A380 is ending. The gamble has been placed. The only question left is whether Boeing delivers, or whether Emirates faces a capacity crisis unlike anything in its history.